Hello, welcome to my presentation of CompTIA Network Plus Guide to Networks. This presentation covers chapters 7 through 12, the last half of the book. First up is chapter 7, Network Architecture. Section 1 talks about the physical architecture, or how the actual hardware is organized. Goes into detail about different types of switches that can be used, how those ports on those switches can be secured, the management techniques you can use for switch paths. It talks about different hierarchical designs for organizing the network, and that also leads into uh, organizations that you can use to increase your availability and redundancy of your network. Section 2 talks about virtual architecture, or how all the devices interact with each other logically. It talks about hypervisors, which are basically the hosts of virtual machines. Uh, Talks about different virtual machine connection types, whether it's bridged or NAT, and many others. Talks about the pros and cons of virtualization and how network function virtualization can be achieved, and the different methods for software defined networking. Section 3 is about cloud architecture. There's different cloud characteristics that apply to these networks. Uh, there's a lot of different service models going from platform, software, infrastructure, lots of different sort of ways that cloud services can be organized. It also goes into some detail on connecting to your cloud and how cloud services work and some examples of them. Section 4 is on automating networks, just give some basic information on automation and orchestration techniques and how you can control the sources of network data. Moving on to Chapter 8, Network Segmentation. Section 1 talks about why you should segment networks, gives some benefits of grouping together different business departments or physical locations, talks about operational technology, physical hardware that has real world effects, and storage area network technologies like fiber channel, iSCSI, or an InfiniBand. Section 2 is about subnetting, describes how subnets divide broadcast domains within a network, how subnet masks work by dividing an IP address into a network ID and a host ID, uh, give some information on how subnet mask tables are used by the router to determine traffic flow. It also tells you how to implement subnets, how network services work across subnets, VLSM. This is all for IPv4. In IPv6, it's different, so it talks about that as well. Section 3 goes on to talk about virtual LANs, how switch ports are configured in a virtual LAN, how VLANs and subnets interact, switch virtual interfaces, talks about types of VLANs, how you can maintain your VLANs, and also VXLANs, or virtual extensible local area networks. Section 4 is on cloud networking, describes how network spaces work in the cloud and how the cloud actually functions at the edge where it's connecting to your device. In Chapter 9, Wide Area Networking talks about WANs. Section 1 is about WAN connectivity, describes the difference between a WAN and a LAN. WAN connection service options, there's many different ways like cellular or fiber. Cloud connectivity options within WANs. Uh, Software defined WANs are also discussed, and wireless WANs. Section 2 moves on to routing protocols that WANs use. There's lots of different types of routers because this is on a very large scale. The routing tables that are used to bounce requests from router to router. Uh, the protocols that are used to determine what the best, quickest, and most reliable path is, uh, interior interior and exterior gateway protocols determine what's let in and out of the WAN and how the WAN interacts with others and how it interacts with devices within it. Uh, Talks about routing redundancy, how that's achieved through on WANs. Section 3 is about securing WAN connections. There's a lot of different methods for this, like access control lists, proxy servers, firewalls, and cloud security technologies. Section 4 is about troubleshooting WAN connections. It describes different internet connectivity issues, interface problems, and routing issues that you may run into. Okay, Chapter 10 is about risk management. Section 1 talks about different types of security risks, whether that be people, technology, malware, or physical access. There's many types. Section 2 is on risk assessment and management, goes over types of assessments that can be done, uh, like attack simulations, how those can be performed, different scanning tools that can be used for this, intrusion detection and prevention measures that can be put in place. And also, it describes honeypots and honey nets that can be used to lure in uh, attackers. Section 3 is about device hardening. Talks about a lot of different methods of device hardening, whether that be updates, security patches, uh, certain services and protocols you should use, certain ones you shouldn't, uh, anti-malware, antivirus, uh, switch security configurations, and how to properly dispose of digital assets. Chapter 11 is about access control. Section 1 goes over how security and users interact. Security policies should be put in place to define proper use of the network by users. Uh, Also goes over some different physical prevention and detection methods that can be used to control access. Section 2 is about AAA. Authentication is verifying the user is who they say they are. Authorization is making sure that user is able to access only what they should be allowed to access. And accounting is making sure that all actions are documented on the network. Section 3, authentication technologies. There's a lot of different methods for authenticating. Some of them include SSO or single sign on. There's various directory services that can be used for looking up uh, credentials. And there's also third party identity providers. Section 4 talks about some more modern network security access control methods that are being used, like zero trust architectures and secure access service edge. Chapter 12 is all about performance and recovery, basically making sure the network is operating correctly and things can be restored quickly if something goes wrong. Section 1 is about collecting network data. There's a lot of different tools and techniques for this, how you can monitor the environment, how you can monitor the traffic on the network. It also talks about how you can monitor different metrics for cloud systems. Section 2 is on managing network traffic. There's certain performance baselines that are expected out of a network. These can be achieved with technologies like bandwidth management, flow control, and congestion control. And some companies will assure a certain quality of service level that they have to be able to maintain for their clients. Section 3 is about planning, response, and recovery strategies. Incident response plans are pretty standard. They focus on data preservation, disaster recovery planning, making sure that uh, data is safe and it can be and operations can be restored quickly.